There we are. Yay. Hey, everybody. It's Laura Kinghan. Late as usual, but I'm rested. I know I have to mention that all the time. Anyway, well, welcome. Today is my Wednesday live demo. And what I'd like to talk about is sleep. And in putting this all together for today, I realized what I would like to do. It might be a little bit of a surprise. I want to pull in, really it's been a theme that I've been building on really since before Christmas. We were starting to talk about, we did talk about stress and dealing with anxiety. And even before that, I've talked about sensory issues. So I want to pull this all together, but I'm kind of jumping ahead. Let me explain to you. Some of you are returning and kind of know my routine, or returning to this video and can just jump ahead. Let me just explain to you. I want to do an introduction, and then I'm going to talk just a little bit. But really what I want to do today is have you have a practical experience. I want you to have an experience, as I am experiencing the sun right in my face as I'm starting to talk. So if I can adjust this a little bit here. I'm still in the sun. I guess the sun is wanting to illuminate me. Well, dare I say, I am wearing my shirt that I feel is like for the sun. So I don't have a sleep moon shirt, so I figured I'd wear my sun shirt, which really kind of fits into the theme. But I'm really kind of going off now. So, but for this particular presentation, please be prepared. I would like you to plan on moving. I have asked my husband, Kinghan, to come and join. And so he's at the drum kit, ready to go for us. So we will have some active movement. But because this is about sleep, and we all know about sleep, and we can go do Google searches about sleep and study about sleep and read about sleep. But to have a practical experience to help us address our sleep issues, that's what I'd like to offer you all today. So I'll do my introduction, I'll talk a little bit about sleep, but then I would say about 30 minutes of this live demo is going to be active participation. I'm going to really try to talk much less unless you have an experience. So let me just explain to you a little bit about why I'm doing this. And I mean, one big reason, honestly, is I'm a nationally registered occupational therapist, licensed in the state of Arizona. I opened a clinic in January of 2020. Not great timing. And I've been having a hard time generating clients. I'm asking for cash as opposed to insurance. So what was helping me through 2020 was some live free demos. And so I've started doing that, and I've now actually developed a catalog that you can go over to YouTube at SSI-Tube, and I've got a bunch of videos there now. So this is a community offering as well, kind of just taking some topical issues that are coming up, and then presenting that as I would in a therapy session, so that you can get a sense of what I'm doing, how I work, and kind of what this is about. I can see the numbers starting to drop because I'm talking too much already. So I've been talking about in my sessions about self-regulation and how I purposely try to organize my sessions where we start off kind of even keel, but then as I talk and introduce concepts, we're going to build in our activity level, is I guess what I want to say. I kind of interchange energy level, arousal level, activity level, but we want to build. We want to amp up. My husband's in a band, it's ampage is an important concept. So we're going to amp up, and then we're going to calm back down. Because when we're dealing, especially with autism or self-regulation, a lot of hyperactive individuals just have a lot of difficulty when they amp up and get hyperactive. They have a real hard time calming themselves back down. So I want you to have a practical, dodging the sun, I want you to have a practical experience today. And then with the musical accompaniment, that should really, I'm hoping it'll be effective for you. Um, I have a web page, but really what I'm trying to do is work off of Facebook. So if you go over to Facebook, my business is Sensory Solutions Inc. There are several Sensory Solutions Inc. in the country, but mine is at SSIFB. So you can go over there and take a look. And I've got several other pages too, but that's my main page that you can go and take a look. This is going to be backwards. Let me flip this around and just give you a quick look at my business card. What I'm trying to do is offer strategies to reach wholeness. Now, I'd like to give you my cell phone number, but my cell phone bill just cut me off the other day. So I'm doing these live demos for free. My husband and I have also offered some other kinds of things, and we're planning on doing more offerings. But I know money's tight for so many people, so I'm asking for donations. You can go to Google Pay or Cash App. I guess I'll look into Venmo. A lot of people are talking about Venmo. I haven't done PayPal, but I'm really at your mercy. This is what I do for a living. I do kind of therapy sessions and educational teachings and whatnot. But because of the pandemic, I'm at home. I do have an online secure, it's similar to Zoom, but it's more secure for therapy. So I can do individual evaluations and treatment. I can do groups. I was just about ready to start offering some events, and then I had a couple issues. I got scammed, and I'm sure you guys are all really struggling with your own stuff too. So that's about all the introduction I really care to say. It's like this is just taking a really long time. So this is something from me to you all that I can offer. This is my culmination, my life's work, really. So we are planning on doing some movement. Please be safe in how you go about doing that. I'm also going to offer some variations. It's really up to you to pick what level you're at, and any one day that level can change too. So just please be safe, be responsible in what you do with your movement, clear an area so you're not going to bonk into anything, and hopefully you can give yourself a little downtime to enjoy this demo. So having said that, let's segue into, let's talk about sleep for a little bit. I'm sorry, this is really, it's bothering me, it might be bothering you all. I've got these really high ceilings, which are really lovely. There we go. And these demos, I can see how I'm aging. Yay! But then I have this work experience and stuff I can share with you, so I guess it's a trade-off. So very briefly, let's talk about sleep. There's a lot of benefits about sleep. What are some of the benefits? Now, today I am more rested, so hopefully I'll be thinking better. My energy is better. I'm calmer. I'm able to handle stress better. It's kind of relative. Today was really stressful because I'm dealing with the fact I don't have a phone right now, and I got locked out of my FB account, my Facebook account, because I don't have my phone, and it's like this. So I'm going to take that stress of today and channel it in this exercise. But having been more rested, hopefully I can do a better job with that. Things like hormones and just our general physicality, all our moods, all these kinds of things benefit by having good, decent sleep. And I imagine we all know what it's like when we are not rested. And it's like all those things kind of go down the hill. We can be more irritable. I wonder about the stress with everybody else too, even just driving on the roads. A lot of people are stressed about some of the stresses I'm having. Let alone the amount of death and loss that's going on. I saw on Facebook today, one of my childhood friends, her father passed away. I could cry just now, These are some of these different stressors. So when we are well rested, we are in a better place to address our issues. But when we're not, it's tough. Some of the things that can interrupt and cause problems with our sleeping. Certainly if you have a partner, I know when I first got married, it was it was an adjustment to be sleeping next to somebody. What if somebody snores? What if there's children crying? I'm not a parent. I've not given birth to a child and raised a child, but those of you who have infants and children, you know what insomnia is like. Maybe there's a chronic illness. I'm saying a lot of ums. Pregnancy, aging, menopause. Now, I'm on the other side of menopause now, but menopause really has significantly contributed to my health issues. I was just unable to get to sleep. So I want to recommend to anybody who's around menopausal women, if you can let them have a chance to get some sleep, everybody will benefit from it, I'm sure. Sleep is just paramount. So, I mean, those are just some of the different things. You know, sleep deprivation, I mean, that's used for torture. So we know that sleep is important. Now, as an occupational therapist, we use activities as an occupation, what occupies our day-to-day humanness. We use activities. We don't use medication, dietary kinds of things. That's really outside our realm, even though ideally I would work in a team with, say, a dietitian and a psychiatrist and a counselor and a nurse, ideally, depending on how involved my client's needs are. So I want to make that important distinction, that medication and dietary supplements can either positively or negatively affect our sleep, caffeine. But as an occupational therapist, how I would go about and help somebody who's dealing with some sleep issues would be more on an activity-oriented basis. The past videos I've done, we've been talking about routines. That's one of my issues about sleep. And I get this from my grandmother. I know some of you have been watching when I post online. I post a lot at night. I've always liked being up at night. And I'm embarrassed, and I'm going to admit this to everybody right here, right now. I tend to like to sleep during the day. You know, going to bed at sunrise actually is one of my better times to go to sleep. And if I really have my druthers in that routine, that's what I prefer. Fortunately, my husband is a drummer, and if and when it was ideal and he was working regularly, he would be working nights. So, and I have musicians in my family, so I'm kind of built that way. But that's not how the typical world works. So I get embarrassed about that. But if I were really honest, that's more my routine. And because of this lockdown and this pandemic, I've been able to do that. And it's still iffy, but I'm getting better rest. So it's a little long-winded to point out the power of routines. Part of the thing about routines, you know, basic things like you don't watch a scary movie before you go to bed, and how often do we do that? But that kind of thing can interrupt our sleep. Ideally, when we are wanting to go to bed, we want to dial down in those last hours going, you know, as we wind down. So these are some of the considerations as an OT, as an occupational therapist, that I would work with my client on. A couple other things is movement. And I particularly like yoga. It's a great way to do the movement. And we're going to get into that today. I've been watching, you guys are watching some of these videos, and it seems like you guys like the movement. I am going to make a judgment that you guys are liking it, and so I'm going with it. Even though I think these live demos are more than just the movement, the music, but it's working in for now, and I like it, and I think you all are liking it. So probably an inappropriate time, I'm just going to share this, that on YouTube, my husband and I do have a Rocking in the House with Laura and Kevin, where it's about a 45-minute video where there's this music and dancing, where we can just move and just work it out without me doing all this talking. I mean, that's part of what the live demos are about, is some of the talking, but also the practical application. So we're going to get into that. But there's one other point I want to talk about with sleeping, and because I have worked with sensory processing issues so much, that I have to point out, taking into consideration our senses and sensory strategies that we can use to help our senses as well. So one of the phrases I like to use is environmental adaptations, is paying attention to what our environment is, and if that environment is conducive for sleeping. So at night, I like to have candles going. We still have some of the Christmas lights. Matter of fact, you can see them right there, right there. You know, so we'll turn the lights out, but have those lights on. And it lights up the room, but it's a softer light, as opposed to the bright, bright, bright lights. And like to ease down, amping down. LEDs in the room. If you have a lot of LEDs in your bedroom, that's probably going to irritate. I mean, I know that there's studies and a lot of studies about that you can research about how LEDs impact sleep, or the lights. I'm not well versed on that, but also sounds. If there's a lot of other people making a lot of sounds, you got kids making sounds, it's going to interrupt your sleep. So again, looking at routines, and is there a way, routines and structure. If you do have children, what kind of structure does the whole family have? And different people may have different needs, but to come together as a unit and work with that, especially if there are some issues with sleep. Vision. You can see in my background, there's a lot of visually stimulating kinds of things. Your bedroom, they say actually you shouldn't even have a TV in your bedroom. I do. Actually, I don't anymore. Even the buzzing, like when it snows and it gets really quiet, the sound of the refrigerator is very loud. Those kinds of things. Especially, I've worked with a lot of people with autism who are many people are very overly sensitive. That the buzzing of the lights, that can interfere with their educational process, their daily functioning. It's something that most of us just take for granted. But if you're really have a hypersensitivity to sound or vision, these different sensory strategies make a difference. Like smells. Some of the school cafeterias I would work at and could smell the lunch, and either it smelled good or it didn't, and how does that contribute to our arousal level? Does it put us on more of a sympathetic nervous system kind of a response, where kind of fight and flight, or a fight kind of response, as opposed to a parasympathetic, calmer response? And that's really what we're looking for when we are trying to do stress management and calm down. We're trying to facilitate a parasympathetic, a calmer nervous system response. This is something physiological that I am planning on doing with you today. We're going to move, we're going to work with our ampage, and it should impact you physiologically. So I think that that's probably my segue. I'm going to have Kevin play. I'm going to dance, and I did not dance more than 3 years ago. I've only been dancing about 3 years ago, for 3 years. When I was about 12, my first boyfriend made fun of me dancing on the dance floor at a country club, nonetheless. And I have not danced since then. Not at Founders or the Wharf House for you back on Long Island in New York. Didn't dance. So it's only been about 3 years. So if I can get up and dance, I'm encouraging you all to dance too. Having said that, move at your own pace. Another video I did was on exercise. So I'll work with that a little bit to start you out. As an occupational therapist, I would evaluate you as a client and determine where you are at, and work with you and determine what level, developing a treatment plan where you can be successful. So with this kind of arena, it's up to you all to figure that out. If you'd like some guidance, I'm available. Got to put my plug in. So we're going to move. I want to move. I'll gauge it, but about 10 to 15 minutes. And then we'll do a little bit of yoga. And then we'll finish up with Shavasana, or the corpse pose, which I figured is fitting for the fact we're talking about sleep. And then I'll wrap it up after that. So we've got about 15 to 25 minutes of movement ahead of us. Okay? So with that, I'm going to cue the music. So Kevin, you can go ahead and start. Feel the music, work with it, take note to the ampage and how that's going to shift. Just have fun with this, okay? Welcome to comment in the chat box. PM me. You can PM me on Facebook if you have any questions, okay? So enjoy, everybody. And I will finish up. I'll come back on before I close up the video. So the movement is going to start out, it's already pretty fast. And I've asked him to even go up more. I know for me, I have some stress I need to work out. For many years, I wasn't able to do that with my body, but I can now. So I encourage the same for you all. I make some adjustments. I love this beat. So I know we're talking about sleep today, but if you don't work out your stress, you can be lying in bed with your mind just monkey mind, right? So let's take this opportunity to work through that. Let it out, and then we're going to bring it down. Okay? Good luck. Give it back. dancing. Some people really like the movement, the back and forth. It's calming to our nervous system. Many people like deep pressure for calming. We'll talk a little bit about that. Can you imagine a dog in a belly dancing costume? Dialing it down. Still moving, but dialing it down. Working it through. Dialing it down now. Let's talk about that, Diane. We'll practice another time. We're working on sleep by moving. We've been working it hard. We amped up. Now we're dialing down. Still gonna move. And we're gonna do some yoga after this. Do it at your own pace. If you need to stop and drink some water, take a breath, do that. I want you to feel the change in the differences in the changes in the amplitude as we go throughout this video. And notice if it's different. If you're going rhythmical versus arrhythmical. This, if you want to wake somebody up, do that kind of thing. If you want to calm down, don't mess your hair up. But rhythmical, like a rocking chair. There really is something to a rocking chair. It is calming to the nervous system. Some people like movement more than others. We all need movement. But I've discovered people either have a propensity either towards movement or towards touch. So I'm going to cover both. So we're still working on the movement part. A little longer. Little bonk. Quieter guard. softer, quieter. I'm going to set up a yoga mat. So the sign we're dialing down. So let's switch a little bit. I'm going to move into a little more of a yoga piece, but I'm going to leave the music going while we do this. But notice how the music is also shifting. We talk about the use of sound. You can use it very strategically, like a medicine standpoint. So I'm going to give you a couple suggestions, and this includes those of you who are bedridden. You can do this too. So I'm going to put you guys down on the floor. So you can lie down and put your feet up on the couch or on a secure chair. What we really want is like 90 degrees at our knees and at our hips. And then you can just lie like that, say for 5 minutes or so, 5-7 minutes. Again, you have to be your own judge. But there's something, I remember being taught that strategy in college. And I know sometimes when I come home from a tough work day, I would use this. And this would really help literally calm my body down. So I'm just going to demonstrate this for you. Okay? So arms at your side. That feels really good right there. My body likes that. So that's one thing you can do. If you're bedridden or just want to lie on the couch or on a yoga mat, I don't know about yoga that well. I really don't know how to pronounce this particular yoga pose. I'm not even going to give it a chance. The wind relieving pose. Basically, you lie flat and you bring up one knee to your chest. Feel that stretch, and then do your other knee. Let's try that. If you still want to move to the music, you can do that. These are just some suggestions. But the point is, the movement and the dancing helps give more of a vestibular input, more of the movement. It triggers the vestibular receptors in our brains. It's still physiological. But that's vestibular. This is a little more proprioceptive in nature, where it's working more on the tactile system. And there is a differentiation when we talk about sensory systems. It's really important, in my line of work anyway. So I'm just trying to show you some different strategies. So if you lie down, lie flat, bring one knee up. Again, I am not a certified yoga teacher. So if you really, I can certainly work with these poses, but if you really wanted to get into yoga, I would refer you to a yoga teacher. I hope you guys can see that. Now, you can also bring both knees up. And one of the things that does is that helps to really stretch our back, and it should help alleviate like our stomach and our digestion a little bit. When you're doing these yoga poses, if you know what the ocean breath is, or the ujjayi breath, you can practice that. That's right, pressure off your spine. So I'm going to do this, so hopefully you guys can hear me. But I am not going to go through and really explain how to do this breath. If you know it, I encourage you guys to do this. So this is the ocean breath. You breathe in. Actually, I'm going to briefly explain it. Breathe in, and when you breathe out, it's as though you're pushing the air like in the back of your throat. So it kind of makes an ocean sound. So let's see if you can hear this. So I breathe in. so much of this is about mindfulness. That's a kind of like a buzz phrase these days, is mindfulness. And so taking that breath and consciously working with it on making that sound in the back of your throat helps us to go like in our bodies and helps us to become more aware of our bodily sensations. And that in and of itself can be incredibly, incredibly powerful. The use of breath is so important. And coordinating the breath with the movement is really important. So I'd like to do one final pose, and that's the corpse pose, or Shavasana. Any of you all that have done yoga know that when you finish a yoga session, you do Shavasana. So you do a calming, quiet time. I mean, this is quiet time anyway. But so for those of you that know Shavasana, go ahead and lie down in a comfortable position. Those of you in bed, already there. I like having my knees supported. I have half a bolster, but you can also use pillows or a blanket, a folded blanket. Put it under your knees. A little bit of support into your head, arms at your side. I will demonstrate this, and I will lie here for a couple of minutes. I'll do my best not to talk, so that you can join in on this on your own at home, so that you can have this video and go back to over and over again. I think that's all I really want to say. So if your feet are on the couch, go ahead and take them off and then lie flat. If you are dancing, go ahead and stop and lie flat. Let's all of us now unify and do Shavasana together. Let's do it. Camera angle. Make sure your back is against the floor, arms at your side. Deep breaths, a couple of deep breaths in and out, and close your eyes. So go ahead and take a deep breath in and out. And tune in to how your whole being is feeling right now. If it feels any different from earlier. And know you can always come back to this activity or even this time of practice and work it again. Taking another deep breath in and out. Slowly let it go. Try to keep your mouth closed. Roll to your right side and slowly sit up. So I know my sweating has stopped. I've calmed down. I know I could probably do this some more. But I hope it's something that will be of benefit to you all. So without us actually going to sleep, it's my intent and hope that this will help you to sleep tonight and in these next nights to come. So thank you. Take good care, everybody. Bye. Bye, Brooks.